In this video, I'm going to show you how to implement a DHCP starving attack using Yersinia on Kali Linux. I'm going to show you how to set up a DHCP server on Kali Linux and then how to implement a man-in-the-middle attack. So the goal is to see traffic sent from this victim computer into the network. We're going to essentially redirect traffic through Kali Linux when the traffic is sent to the router. At the moment, the router is configured as a DHCP server. Here's the router's console. Show run. Router has an exclusion range, 10.1.2.100 to 10.1.2.254. VLAN 2 DHCP pool is that. Default router is the switch, which is acting as a layer 3 switch. This is the network. So hosts in VLAN 2 should be allocated IP addresses in the subnet. This interface is configured in VLAN 2. We can see that by looking at the switch. So on the switch, show run interface gigabit 02. Notice the interface is configured in VLAN 2. Show IP interface brief. This IP address on the switch is the default gateway for hosts in VLAN 2. So on the victim computer, it should have been allocated an IP address in VLAN 2. So on the victim computer, I'll open up a console and use ifconfig to see the IP address allocated. You can see that this is the IP address allocated to the victim computer. Back on the router, show IP DHCP binding. This is the IP address that was allocated to the victim computer. Now notice this IP address as well. This was allocated to the Kali Linux host. On Kali Linux, ifconfig pipe more. IP address allocated is this IP address. So at the moment, this device is in VLAN 1. This device is in VLAN 2. But let's assume that we've moved the Kali Linux host to VLAN 2. In other words, it's on the same VLAN as the victim computer. In the previous lab, I enabled spanning tree root guard on this port. I also made it an access port and stopped DTP. So let's put that port into VLAN 2. So it's in the same subnet as the victim computer. So once again, show run interface gigabit 02. This is the victim computer. 00 is the Kali Linux host. On Kali Linux, sudo ifconfig eth0 down. I'll shut the interface down and then bring it up again. ifconfig. At the moment, it's still got this IP address. Let's shut it down again. On the router, let's see if it actually did a request for IP address. So debug IP DHCP server. And we'll go for packets so we can see what's going on. I'll bring the interface up again. As you can see here, we told option 125 is not included. But let's see if it got an IP address. It did. Notice it's got IP address 10.1.2.2, so it was allocated an IP address in the same subnet as the victim computer. So those two IP addresses have been allocated by the router in VLAN 2. The Kali Linux host is now in the same subnet as the victim computer. So again, show IP DHCP binding. Notice only two IP addresses have been allocated in VLAN 2.